Have you ever imagined it? That perfect moment. The person who hurt you finally feels what you felt. They regret it, they suffer, they understand. And in that fantasy, something inside you feels calm for a second. But here's the disturbing question. If revenge doesn't heal us, why does it feel so satisfying? Why do intelligent, rational people replay revenge scenarios in their heads at 2 am? Why does pain sometimes transform into obsession? And why do some people destroy their own peace just to make someone else hurt? Because revenge isn't really about justice, it's about something much darker. It's about ego, control, humiliation, and the desperate human need to make pain visible. Let's be honest, revenge is deeply human. This isn't some modern character flaw, it's ancient. Imagine early human tribes. If someone stole from you, attacked you, betrayed your trust, and nothing happened, others would see weakness. More people might exploit you. So the desire for revenge evolved as a signal, a warning. Do not do this to me again. In that sense, revenge once had survival value. It protected status, resources, reputation. Your brain still carries that old software, which explains something strange. Studies suggest the anticipation of revenge activates reward pathways in the brain. Yes, your mind can treat revenge like a reward, like a psychological drug, not because it heals you, but because it promises power. And humans are addicted to feeling powerless, far less than they admit. Here's where it gets interesting. Most people think revenge is about pain. It's not. Pain alone rarely creates obsession. Humiliation does. Think about betrayal, a breakup, a friend's deception, public disrespect, being replaced, being mocked. What hurts isn't just the event, it's what the event says about you. Was I not enough? Did they think I was weak? Did I mean nothing? That's not emotional pain. That's identity damage. And when identity gets wounded, revenge starts looking like medicine. Because revenge whispers, take back control, restore your dignity, make them understand. But revenge doesn't restore dignity. It makes your dignity dependent on someone else's suffering. And that's a dangerous trap. Let's talk about fantasy. Because revenge in imagination is perfect in your mind. You say exactly the right words. You look calm, powerful, untouchable. They cry, apologize, regret everything. Justice arrives with cinematic precision, but reality is messy. People don't react how you imagined. Sometimes they don't care. Sometimes they move on. Sometimes your revenge changes nothing, and that's devastating. Because you weren't chasing justice, you were chasing emotional closure. And closure cannot be forced out of another human being. That's why revenge often creates emptiness. You think, that's it, why do I still feel bad? Because revenge solves the external story, not the internal wound. Few people in the past had a brutal observation. They believed resentment transforms weakness into obsession. When someone hurts us and we cannot act immediately, the mind stores it, replays it, feeds it, builds identity around it. You stop becoming a person with pain. You become the person who was wronged. And once that identity forms, revenge feels meaningful. Because without revenge, who are you? That's terrifying. Because now your enemy lives rent-free inside your mind. They may have forgotten you, but you are still emotionally chained to them. Who's really in control? Here's the darkest truth. Revenge can become addictive, not because hurting others feels good, but because anger gives clarity, pain is confusing, anger feels simple, it gives purpose, direction, energy. Destroy them, that's easier than grief, easier than acceptance, easier than admitting, I was hurt deeply, Some people choose revenge because healing feels slower, harder, less dramatic. But revenge keeps the wound alive. Healing asks you to release the story. Revenge asks you to repeat it forever. So what is revenge really? A justice for search or a search for justice? Sometimes, but often. It's grief wearing armor, pain pretending to be power, a wounded ego demanding proof that it mattered. And maybe the cruelest irony is this: the person you want to punish may not be suffering at all, only you are. So perhaps real power isn't making them hurt. Perhaps real power is becoming someone their actions can no longer control. Because the most terrifying thing to your enemy is not your revenge, it's your indifference. If this made you think differently about anger, subscribe for more philosophical psychology.